Good morning. My name is Laura Thomas, and I am here to present ParentSquare 101. You can see at the bottom, if you would like the slide deck for this, you can go to bit.ly / capital P, capital S, 101, lowercase I, 3. Welcome to ParentSquare. I know that this is new for many of you. You're still trying to figure out what to do, how to do, and hopefully this video, if you pause along the way, can help you with the different things that you want. Today, we're going to be covering what is the difference between a post and a message, creating a post, appointment signups. This is what you're going to want when it comes parent conference time, the data that you can get from post, and then your messaging options. So let's jump in. What is the difference between a post and a message? When you're making a post, think about this is information you want to share for everyone. It would be similar to an email or a newsletter format. And if you want to get fancy, there are some newsletter templates in there, but I would not say that they are user-friendly. But if you want to get fancy, feel free to play with them. I'm pretty sure we can't break ParentSquare, so feel free to use them. Recipients can respond to or appreciate posts still, so you can still have an open dialogue. There is a way to turn that off where they cannot respond, but it does allow for what appears to you multi-level communication. Trust me, the parents are not seeing what the other parents respond, but you are seeing what everyone responds. And this also collects data that you can use when you get that parent that says, I never heard that. Yeah, you saw it as a text, you opened it in ParentSquare, and you read it as an email. So it kind of gives you some data to document parent contact on information if that ever becomes an issue. A message is a little bit different. Think of this in terms of something that you would send to a small group, an individual family or an individual student. You can see if the message is read until it's responded to, in which case that red goes away, but obviously they saw it if they responded. But otherwise, it does have just a little bit of red, but no real data on the messages. And it's kind of a digital conversation similar to a text. It's going to have much more of that feel. So you're not going to want to include large amounts of information in messages. You would want to save those for post. This is more of a small kind of communication conversation type platform. So let's look at post. When you are in ParentSquare, you can go and click under communicate that you want to go to a post. From there, it's going to open up what you see here in the middle. You can start typing in your class here in the to box. One thing that we did notice with the way GISD populated these for secondary, it does not say which class period that is. Elementary, if you're departmentalized, you're going to see a little bit of that. You're not going to know necessarily which group that's going to. You can look in the directory. Unfortunately, unless you have admin rights, you are not able to rename those courses. But you can start to figure out, okay, the one that's coded this way, these students are in that. And I can definitely, if you want to message me privately, kind of talk you through that. If you are working in a middle school or high school, I do recommend changing who receives this to include the students. It's automatically going to go to staff and parents. As we try and move our secondary students into owning responsibility for their own information, I think it's good to include them on most communications. If I'm sending out a parent permission slip, not going to include students because then you're going to end up having them fill it out. Although I think it blocks them, but just in case, I wouldn't send parent permission slips to students. I would not send conference notifications to students. But any general information, if you're sending out some sort of newsletter type information, I would include the students on that for secondary. While staff is checked, it is only going to go to staff that are assigned to the class that you are sending it to. So for instance, my orchestra classes and band classes, I have both directors in each class. So the one that they're actually assigned through Skyward, I've added the other director into that class and vice versa. So both orchestra teachers would get it. I am not going to get the message that they sent when they check staff, even though I am an admin. I'm not going to get that. I could dig in and find it as an admin, but I am not going to get their newsletter. So don't worry about leaving staff checked. It's only going to any staff associated with that class. All right, so now we've got it addressed to whom we're going to go. Obviously, you want to have a subject line. You can see here you have several options. If you need to make something bold, do italics, do bullet points, make paragraph format. You've got some basic formatting options here, even to be able to hyperlink things so you don't have to have long URLs within the body of your text. This is much more user-friendly for both translation and for ADA compliance, Americans with Disability Act compliance. Screen readers much prefer you to hyperlink things for the visually impaired. So I do recommend hyperlinking text so that to make it more user-friendly for our populations. But you've got many formatting here. If you're wanting to get really fancy, you can click on Studio Editor. That will create a newsletter looking format. Again, play with it. It would be too much to go into on any video unless we did a video just on it. But play with it. You're not going to break ParentSquare. Just don't put any two recipients in there. You're not even going to accidentally send it to anybody. But feel free to play with that if that is something that aesthetic is important to you. All right. Now we've gotten it written. It's time to send. There are some options here for the post. And when you click on the little caret for post now, you've got post now, you've got schedule. So if you know you want it to go at a specific time, you're writing it today, but you don't want it to go out till tomorrow, this is a great feature for that. You've got save as draft, and we're going to talk about something else you have to do if you save as a draft and then come back to it later, but we often need that. You can also preview it and kind of see what it's going to look like once it is sent. After listening to my staff at Austin Academy that have students also in the district, they were pretty unanimous that they would prefer that teachers click send instantly, because otherwise it gets put in this long district message that anything that went out that day goes into. So if family and community engagement is sending out something, it's going to be in there along with the messages from your teacher. If the district communications department is sending out, it's all going to be in one long format. And it can be difficult to differentiate between the material you really need to know and the material that you may want to read and know about. And so my staff that have students in the district were overwhelming. Please do not send information about important class things with the larger district communication. So you would want to go and tick this little box here to send instantly before you posted now. Even posting now, if you have the other checked, it's going to become part of that larger daily digest. And again, this was from parents that said, no, please don't do that for important classroom communication. So back to the saving as draft real quick. Something you need to know that we have found through trial and error is once you have gone and you have come back and you have finished that, for some reason, the translations are not updating. Kelly Davis, who's one of our IB coordinators in the district, has found this. She'll go and click on the edit translate button, and initially the first half of the message will be there. So clicking on that edit translation button, even if you cannot remotely stay connected, translate the information. Go ahead and click that so that it updates and gets all of the final newsletter information that you are sending collected and translated for our families. And I have heard such positive feedback from families about being able to read all communications in their preferred language. That being said, one more note back to the ADA compliance and translation help. Using infographics, while you can certainly insert pictures, and I love an infographic, they do not translate, and screen readers for those who are visually impaired cannot read them. So if you are going to insert an infographic into your post, please also include all of the information as text so that our families can receive the translation, and our families who need to have the screen reader read the information to them can have that information as well. All right. Conferences. These are also going to be somewhat through post. Instead of clicking a new post and going ahead and writing your newsletter, you're going to click on the caret and you're going to go to appointment signups. This is going to be what you're going to want for your parent-teacher conferences. It makes it so easy. This is, again, the only communication tool that we are wanting to use with our families now so that they have one-stop shopping for everything across the district, no matter what level their student is. We are doing this for our families. So go to appointment time slots. You've got some options that you need to set here. What day, what time, how long do you want the conference? Do you want a break in between each conference? These ticks down at the bottom are pretty important. You want to hide things. You only want to allow them to sign up for one. Make sure you get these things down at the bottom all ticked. And then you're going to go to next, and you have another screen. This is a preview screen. You are here going to give a title to your sign up. I would highly encourage you to include your name. If you teach a specific subject for that student, to include that subject. And to include, like if it's a parent-teacher conference. But I would be very thorough in these so that when families add them to their calendar, they know exactly what they are going to be visiting about, and they know exactly whose conference they're signing up for. One more option you get right here. So again, on my previous screen, I wanted 0 minutes in between each conference, but sometimes between one conference running longer than the 20 minutes, or between me needing a potty and a snack break in there, you may want to go and delete one of those conference sections so that you have a built-in break. If you feel like I'm going to have plenty of parents who are going to sign up and not show up, and that's not going to be an issue, you may not want to purposefully delete one of the time slots. But if you feel like it's going to be a full evening and you're going to need to, at some point in the evening, give yourself a break, just go ahead and delete one of those time slots so that you can have that built-in break. Again, we've got to click next one more time. It's going to, at this point, create a normal post. Up at the top, you can put who you want to send it to, address it to that class that you're needing the conference signups for, or all the classes that you're needing the conference sign up for, because you can send it to multiple classes at once. You can then write in the text, this is for parent-teacher conference night on, and reinforce all of the information that's going to be between 4 and 7 on October 23rd. You can put all of those details in there in that post before then you go back to the normal post settings and select to send it, override and send it instantly, and everything else. From there on, it's a normal post after you hit this next button one more time. Again, I highly encourage you to use this for your parent-teacher conference sign up. It's much more in line with what the district is asking for us, and it's so easy for you. All right. So, all right, to access the data on a post, you want down below your post in your feed, you are going to see a number of people that were notified. You're going to have the little eyeball there. You want to make sure you click on this actual number, not the eyeball. I'm drawn to the eyeball. I want to click there to get the information, but we're going to click on the number. If somebody just appreciated the post, it kind of affirms that they saw it. You're going to have a little heart, and you can click on the 8 people and see what 8 people appreciated your post. There is a way in there to turn off where people can respond to a post with comments or questions. But again, leaving that on creates that open communication with your families, which I always encourage. The other families are not going to see anything that's posted there, so it is safe to let them comment back on that. So let's look at what we get when we get into our data. We have a dashboard at the top that's going to show us a lot of information. It's going to show us the number of people that we sent it to. It is going to show us the number that used it via email, via text, or via the app. Under the email, we get a little bit better detail here as to whether or not it was delivered, it was viewed, it was undeliverable. So we know that they've got a bad email address, and it will show you specifically which family that was. Text, it's the same thing. It will show you, oh, that's going to a landline for 19 of the people here. And then for our app users, we get that same breakdown. Now, on the bottom panel here, on to the left, you would also have the parent's name first. You would have the student's name with their ID number, which is a big part of why it's cut off. I could have blacked them out, but I'm like, that's just too much. It's going to show you what the user's language is. Obviously, Spanish, English, and Vietnamese are going to be our most common, but not necessarily our only languages. And it's going to then show you the breakdown. I picked this one because the email bounced, so we know that that one is one that was undeliverable. Although up at the top, it does show you that for 7 of these, it went to spam. So that's a little bit concerning, but it will show you again on your email stats specifically what that was. It's going to show you, okay, I can go back and let this family know that their main number in Skyward is a landline. And if they want to be able to receive the communications from ParentSquare via text, then they may want to make changes to that in Skyward. And then it will show me if it was delivered in the app. I had just one here that was using the app. And then it shows me, hey, did they view it? Yes, they did. And so only one of these, it was delivered to their email, but no, they did not view it. And so when that parent tells me, oh, I never got that information. Yeah, it was delivered to you. You did not open it. And so, again, we've got that data to support. Yes, we did send this communication. I sent it on this date. Here was the information included in there. You can, if you need to, download all of this data as a CSV, sorry, different thing, not as a drugstore, as a CSV, which is an Excel type file. And so that you have that at the ready if you need it. We always want to make sure we're keeping our data. All right, so let's move on to messaging. This, again, is much more of a conversational type situation, feels much more like you're just texting. We do have 2 options with messaging. One is a direct message. This, every recipient gets their own private conversation going. You could send it to 50 families, although if you're doing that many, probably just make a post because, again, they can comment on there. But you can send it to several families. Each one of them gets their own text conversation going. And so they're responding with you and you're responding with them. No one else sees that. Your other option is a group conversation. This is much more like a group text. This you would want to use very seldomly, but there are times that this could be very helpful. For instance, our pentathlon team went to nationals. Our pentathlon coaches and parents used this to be able to keep up with how the kids were doing, where they were, that they got back to the hotel safely, that they made it to the next competition, that the competition was starting, just all of those things that you might want multiple people to be able to comment. So they did utilize parents to send out some of those messages so that the coaches who are our staff members could concentrate on the actual competition. And then if anybody had any parent who was at home, especially had a urgent need, obviously they could have gotten a hold of the coaches. They had that. They could direct message a coach, but they could also put in there to the broader group so that the parents who were there and the coaches who were there, hey, when you see Susie, please have her contact me. That there's something going on. So that worked out well for them. Again, the district does not want us using GroupMe or other things like that that could facilitate the same purpose. And this is what they are asking us to use. So there will be times where a group conversation might be appropriate, but for the most part, you're always going to use direct message to keep those conversations private. All right. So again, not a lot of data, but even if a parent does not respond, if they read it, it is going to show you down at the bottom of the message. It's going to say read. And so you at least know that they got it. Screenshot it if you want to, so that you've got, yes, I sent this information via post, and here's the data for that. I sent it as a private message to this parent. Here's the data for that. Yes, they viewed it as the email. Yes, they read it as the message. So again, it's just that it's the tiniest bit of data, but when needed, it can be very important. This one does not create the CSV, so you would just need to make sure that perhaps on something important where you know you were going to need to document, you may want to screenshot, probably a little bit more thorough than I did, to include date and time and all that information on to and save that somewhere where you keep your documentation. All right, that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening and hanging in with me with my word fumbles and whatnot. If you have questions for me, feel free to reach out, lthomas@garlandisd.net. And again, if you would like to be able to click through the slides, if that works better for you than listening to my voice and my word fumbles, then please go to the bit.ly, capital P, capital S, 101, lowercase I, the numeral 3. And feel free to look at these slides to see what other information you may need. Thanks.